Hi, welcome to Fight Editor Show, where we analyze and solve pure kerfuffles from a world beyond.
Difficulties on all sides. Sorry.
I'm your host, Lexio, and joining me as always, Kid Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight. Everything everyone knows about ass kicking, but we're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking. Collectively, MMA Punch. Holes!
Choles! Ah! Vayamon.
Eugene.
Sir.
You are Conor McGregor. Your former sparring partner, Paulie Malignaggi, is
Who the fuck is this guy?
Is looking for a fight with you, live and in public, if you will. Walk us through the PR pros and cons of taking him up on his offer.
You know, if I'm Conor McGregor, I start to go to 7-Elevens. I start to go to get and goes. I start to go to in and outs and AM PMs. I start to hang around any quick convenience store for the express purpose of reliving the famous Mike Tyson, Mitch Green war at the store.
Mitch Blood Green.
Yeah, since the PR value of that is much more significant than any kind of fight with Paulie Nagamagalagi. I mean, I like him trying to talk his way into red panty night, but he's not fooling anybody. This is a schoolyard scuffle that only one person wants to see, or maybe more than one. The family of the Malignagis might.
And Alexi.
Alexi wants to see it, but
I'll pay for it.
But he's neglected something, and that's that people's interest and appetite for this will be markedly different on August 27th than it is on August 15th. So he can, if wishes and hopes were dreams, you know the rest.
What did GW Bush? If wishes and hopes were dreams, you know the rest.
Yeah, you still no. I was actually channeling Martin Short, the character. Give me a C, a bouncy C, the great vaudevillian. So hey, I mean, nice try. That's all I gotta say. If I'm Conor McG, nice try, buddy. I'm gonna be too busy counting up to 100 mil after the fight, so I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you think, Nate?
I think Eugene's off his feed. I thought we'd hear some gloating from the guy who predicted this is what Malignaggi was up to last week, and now
I predicted it.
Well,
see,
Eugene,
there you go.
That's why I asked the question.
The hat is too tight. He's confused. He's getting older. It's one of those things.
Otherwise, he answered the question for me. I mean, August 27th is going to be a whole different proposition, and nobody cares about Paulie. I mean, he's a secondary character in this story, and there's not going to be – he's not the sequel to this fight. No matter what the outcome is, Paulie is not the sequel to this fight.
Well, let me ask you this. What role is he playing in terms of the announcing? Is he part of the announce team, or is he just the pre and post fight, threesome? I don't know what that visual. Right. So did he remember he did the pre-fight build up? Is he going to be announcing the fight too? I mean, he's going to be doing color commentary. What role, if any?
Not to ask us factual questions because we don't do any research.
Here's a question.
The reality of it is that if what he's done to improve his credence as a guy behind a mic sitting at a desk, more power to you. I mean, this is why none of us are sitting at Fox Sports doing any MMA commentary, because it's all full up of guys who've seen better days in the cage, right? So if he's doing it to gin up interest in him as a continued presence in the commentary, good for him. If he's doing it to actually get a fight, you need to wake up to this smell of coffee. I got a few guys from back home, from the neighborhood, who could talk to you and explain things to you,
Well, speaking of explaining, Nate, you're Dana White.
Hey.
After you released sparring footage of Conor McGregor and Paulie Malignaggi, the Magic Man put you on blast. Quote, "You bitch ass. You were actually there and saw all 12 rounds. Really, you fucking cue ball ass fraud? kissing my ass after the 12 rounds, end quote. As UFC's Bull of the Woods, is it worth your while to respond, Dana?
Nope. Dana's got other bigger fish to fry. I'm sorry. There's money to be counted. I mean, the big story is that the UFC is now a co-promoter for this fight, which tells me that they didn't trust Conor to give them their cut on the back end. that they only
after all the sparring stuff, right? Like not paying sparring partners. Like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever done deals with Irishmen? I'm just saying, like, Dana White says, give me the money, I'll pay him. Don't pay him and trust him to pay me. No, thank you. So yeah, now Dana doesn't need to bother with Paulie and his bullshit.
Yeah, or like doing business for Trump. You gotta get that money up front, baby. Can't none of this. I'll catch you on the back end. Nah. I tell people my wallet works one way.
Your wallet works?
Well, when it is working, it only works one way.
Let's see.
Wallet is out.
Right now, let's take this is a new segment on the show. What's in Eugene's wallet? There you go. There you go. How's that?
Huh. Let's see the credit cards. See that platinum card.
Yeah, that's a problem. No, you got I got my barroom bet settler. Here you go. This is my barroom bet settler. Hey man.
Hey.
I can't see it.
There you go. There you go. I was
golden
in a movie.
card.
Oh, there he is.
Fucking A.
Union man.
Anyway, so there you go. So wait. Who's answering now? Me?
Yeah, I spoke. Now your turn.
You know what? There are a couple of things. One, given that almost fight that the bald one had with Tito and his purported skills in the sweet science, that this might be something that we got.
Now, I would like to see Dana fight Paulie. Now that
he's been flirting with getting in a ring or a cage for years. However, again, August 27th, he's got the most amount of money for the least amount of work that he's probably ever had to do. What the fuck do you think he's doing in relationship to this fight? Anything? He's
trashing Paulie. I mean,
holding these guys apart, telling his executive assistant, "Hey, tweet out that video." I mean, 60 seconds of it. Was it? Or it's 12. It's not even 60. It's 12 seconds of a video.
Angles.
Tweet that out. I mean, he's doing that to justify more money than any of us have made in the last 10 years. Yeah, that kind of hurts, does it?
It does. I'm not even laying it on my back in the church.
Jealousy. I'm talking about envy.
I know how badly I handle money. I would be dead if I got a hold. I would be dead in 6 months if I got a hold of that kind of money.
When I've had money, I was the nicest guy ever, like I said.
I was real nice.
But it's like that guy who robbed the Brinks truck, a 19-year-old kid. I guess you didn't notice it. Like the ATMs that are in grocery stores, the Brinks trucks are not filmed. The people in the stores don't film. Independent contractors film. This kid started this business. He was 19 years old. Started this business. They're like, I'm going to be the guy who did it. But all that money in the back of his car finally got to him. And he disappeared one day on a long weekend, like a Labor Day weekend. And they couldn't find him, and they didn't start looking for him until Tuesday. So they can't find the kid. They call the house. It's like, hey, is Jimmy there? The bank calls his mom and says, is Jimmy there? Well, they eventually found Jimmy in a hotel room in Miami with as many prostitutes as he could jam in there, cocaine and alcohol.
Man.
Sounds like a good investment strategy.
Jimmy went to jail, but I don't think he cared at that point.
Man, well, speaking about caring, Eugene, your WME-IMG, UFC light heavyweight champion and greatest of all time, Johnny Bonagioni, told MMA Junkie, quote, looking at it from a business standpoint, it's not a really good idea to pay 9% to the state of New York off the top for just fighting here. With 9% of every 1 million, that will add up real quick, end quote. Are you concerned about other marquee UFC fighters avoiding fights in the Big Apple?
Yeah, but this is the kind of shit. These are numbers. You cannot be afraid of numbers. You know, if I'm WME-IMG, I'm sure I've got very, very savvy numbers people, so I can, secret all that money I'm making from all the side deals with all my, people who I'm repping and the deals that they're trying to cut. The reality of it is, if you're passing along that 9% to a fighter in a way that a fighter can clearly see, you're failing on a number of different fronts. One, you're probably not effectively ripping off that fighter, which is probably part of what you want to do. And two, you're not covering the guy, which also has the unintended consequence of covering the fact that you're ripping him off. You're not covering him in the way that you should be. You can't let this 9% be a thing. New York is notorious. I did an event in New York, and we had to ship all of these magazines to this event. The truck shows up. The guy from the truck sits there, and he goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm the truck driver." What do you mean? He goes, "I'm not the there's a name for him. I'm not a stevedore."
Dolly jockey. The stevedore.
Yeah, I'm a stevedore. And so, my VP has to run around and find the stevedore. The stevedore comes out, takes the shit off the back of the truck, and puts it on the loading bay. She goes, "No, I need them inside." He goes, "I don't work at the hotel." So she goes, "I'll carry it." Can't do it. Insurance doesn't let you. So she has to get somebody from the hotel. The hotel says, is this part of our original deal? Because the event was in the hotel. So, well, that's going to cost you then. I got to put, 5 of my bellhops on it. She paid 3 fucking times to get magazines from the loading bay onto a dolly cart up into the venue. New York, baby. Big city of dreams. They got to be paid for. You're going to do events there. You have to do events at a high marquee events that make so much money that 9% here and 9% there, nobody gives a fuck. Otherwise, you're going to take a bath.
That's what they meant when they said too much, too many people.
Look, you go to Vegas. You go to Vegas. This is the business of Vegas. I don't know if you've ever worked at a company where, like, for me as a journalist, I've worked at a company where journalism wasn't the business of the company. And they changed that org chart at one of these companies, big computer companies I work for. They changed that org chart, and I noticed, oh man, we're down by janitorial. Why? Because if I don't come to work, nobody gives a fuck. If I don't go to work at Ozzy, it's a big deal. Because our business is publishing. So this is the kind of thing. Vegas, the business, nobody's going to Vegas for anything else. You're going to go see the sights. What sights? No, the business of Vegas is high-profile fights and events that draw lots of people in. Do it in Vegas. New York has got lots of other things. They got hockey teams, musical. They can gouge anybody else. Seriously, the guy hasn't lived in New York in a long time anyway. I know how it feels.
What do you think, Nate?
I doubt Eugene knows how it feels living upstate New York, but
I do. I used to work in Beacon, New York, man, up near Poughkeepsie.
Oh, how long did you spend in exile up there?
I spent 2 entire summers.
Wow. Man. Wow. So he's not the coastal elitist I thought he was, but he's pretty much right about New York. I mean, the win in New York for the UFC is the big media attention that you can get with a fight. And I think it is something if you're WME and you want to do a big event in Madison Square Garden and get that media attention, you're just going to have to write that 10 or 15% into your fighters' pay if they're smart enough to ask. If they're not smart enough to ask, don't. But people like John Jones are smart enough to ask, and if you really want it for the card, say, hey, here's some extra money to make that pain go away, and do it in some deal that's not in New York. Reebok this or speaking tour that. But, yeah, I mean, there's a reason the fights go to Vegas. Take the fights to Vegas for your bread and butter. New York is a special occasion, once, twice a year. And really, I mean, it was just to get there and get that prestige and get that victory lap appearance that they lobbied so hard. They wanted all 50 states. New York's the Big Apple, yada, yada. But, yeah, no, they don't. John Jones not fighting in Madison Square Garden is not going to kill the UFC.
And that's why they're not filming. Well, you think they're filming New York movies in New York anymore? Nah, baby, they're using that back lot down in Los Angeles. Screw it. New York is a pricey proposition.
Well, Nate, you're Cody Garbrandt. As if aping Conor McGregor's look wasn't enough.
Aping? That's racist.
Aping. Oh, hey, we got to get around to this Charlottesville thing.
You jacked the Maymac fight promo by calling Aljamain Sterling boy multiple times on Twitter. Sterling tweeted, quote, wrong or not, he ain't dumb. That's some dumbass shit to say. Talk shit. Leave the racial connotations out of it, end quote. In wake of last weekend's explosive racial violence in Charlottesville, do you need to make amends?
It seems like he's got the president on his side. And Fox News, most of the Republican Party, scads of UFC fans, no.
No. Did you read the news as of 15 minutes ago, or were you preparing for the show or something?
Some of us work, Eugene.
Yeah, I was sitting at work watching the news of the last 15 minutes.
No, update us with this latest news.
Oh man, the what they're calling the press conference flameout with Trump flipping and like
who's calling it that?
Everybody and like
now Fox News is not calling it that.
Even Fox News, the chick on
Fox News has been really critical of it, but they're walking it back.
The chick, as of what? As of 8 minutes
ago?
As
of what I was looking at on Twitter 15 minutes ago, the panelists are, excusing and blaming alt left and all this shit.
Looking at Kelly. Kelly is looking at
the Fox News panel. Here's what I'm reading. Fox News panel praises courageous Trump comments.
So this is over 15 minutes ago.
No, this is now. This is
because they must have got that blonde woman out there who was outraged and trembling. Well, I don't remember Kay something. They got her out of there and trying to put their fingers in the air. But this is the kind of thing that's going to draw. I mean, my favorite thing, and it's now haunting my last 16 minutes, is looking at Kelly. And I've had that look that Kelly has when you're in a relationship that you know is doomed. And you know that you can't just stand up right now and walk out because you got extenuating circumstances, but they know, the jungle knows that it is fucking doomed. No amount of talk will fucking save it. He's just he's kind of looking at his shoes.
I wish I shared your optimism, Eugene.
Marco Rubio has come out and blast. All the establishment guys.
Rubio.
All the establishment guys have come out and blasted him. And more importantly, you like with 1943, how many battles can you fight? How many?
Trump only needs to fight one at a time because the Trump battle drowns out everything else. Have you heard about North Korea lately? Have you heard about North Korea lately? No, you haven't.
Well, you know why?
Because we've got this clusterfuck going on. And when he's tired of people talking about this clusterfuck, he'll start another clusterfuck on a different topic.
Dude, back down. They're horse trading. They're back down. North Korea's back down. They said they're not going to fire their missiles to Guam. The Chinese got a hold of them because there's this whole thing about the trade war. But it doesn't matter, man. In the end, the number of friends you have. They asked that guy Jack Welch, who was a big Trump supporter, by the way. They asked Jack Welch, purported racist himself,
the XGE guy.
Yeah, XGE guy. At one point said, "What have you known from successful persons?" And he said, "This is the old days." He said, "The successful people I know, from person to person, man or woman, doesn't make a difference. Person to person, their number of social contacts is huge, huge. It is. Yeah, you say, Bill Gates. I didn't see that guy at the supermarket. Who's he hanging out with? Doesn't matter. The number of people that this guy hangs out with and actually has access to it, would count as an associate or a friend, is huge compared to the guy who works at 7-Eleven, right? That's the number one. He says between famous, successful people and non-successful people, that's the only thing I can think of that makes a big difference. You increase your network, you increase your value, you increase your net worth.
And your point is?
My point is, it works in inverse. The more enemies you have, the more things you have on your account, and then you have a Stalingrad, and then you have a bunker in 1945, and then you have a submarine ride to Argentina. Well, you and my Trump fan friends will sit around, and you could go, "Oh, it's the people that make a difference. They got the street." You, of all people, should know, because you lived through the fucking 80s. You lived through real white supremacy menace where you would get chased by fucking skinheads, knifed and fucking beaten. Guys who can't get dates on Friday night with haircuts do not they're gonna take care. They do not frighten me. They shouldn't frighten you. And these are not the people that you can reliably count on because they play World of Warcraft, according to Steve Bannon.
I'm not talking about the LARPers at Charlottesville, although some of the shit they did to distract the police was pretty tactically advanced. calling in bomb threats all over Charlottesville and getting the police pulled out off campus. They owned the campus Friday night. They also took
you mean that fantastic metropolis?
The Tiki Torch March. Yeah.
Charlotte.
Have you talked to anybody who was at UVA? Have you talked to anybody who was fucking there? Because they were fucking shitting their pants. It was scary. The fucking students and faculty of the university, because their police were gone.
Yeah, okay.
The police got baited. The university police got baited off campus.
Yes,
and
you missed my comment about the teeming metropolis of Charlottesville.
It's a tiny little shithole, but it's a pretty little town, and it's a fairly large university.
Yeah.
And the university police were AWOL Friday night.
Yeah.
And there's a university policy against carrying weapons if you're a student or faculty. Yeah. But if you're a random freak who strolls onto the campus, then you're a Virginian and you can carry a gun.
Yeah, so we're not fundamentally disagreeing here. What I'm saying is campus cops, keep in mind, my Stanford campus cops thought for a moment in time that I may have been Abe Lincoln. So this is not.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they did some tactical shit, and I mean they own the streets in Charlottesville. I would say, as far as the direct action aspect of it, until the asshole killed somebody and the PR got out of hand. The PR was a disaster.
Right.
Like doing Sig Heiling and all that. That's the best thing that Trump.
Jew won't replace me.
Yeah, no, that was a disaster. And if you're involved in the alt-right or whatever, you need to tell your dumbasses to stay home and shut the fuck up, because you just
swastika and the swastika flags.
I mean that was not slick. However, on a tactical level, in terms of the street fights in Charlottesville, they were way ahead. Antifa.
But you're losing the thread of what I'm talking about here, which is that
my thread is that Trump is holding his base, that the Republican Party is too impotent and cucked to do anything about it. The Democrats.
So Cody should not apologize.
Cody can ride this. This is the least. Yeah. Nobody gives a shit about what Cody said about Algerman. I mean, look at the fucking Mayweather-McGregor fight. That has descended into pretty much outright race baiting. And I think everybody knows both of those assholes have their tongue in their cheeks and are waiting to count money by gulling people into thinking that it's got some serious racial component. However, what Cody did is very nothing. I mean, McGregor played the boy card too. And people lectured him on why it was offensive, and he didn't care. And now Cody's doing it too. And I don't think it's going to hurt Cody at all.
Okay, so hold on. So in this example,
do I think he's an asshole? Yes, but that's not.
Are we supposed to be Cody?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Nobody gives a fuck about Cody Garbrandt. Moreover,
he managed to get himself on the show.
Moreover, when Mayweather and McGregor went to the boy and they raised it, then again they purchased, they shut it down, and then when they shut it down and things seemed soft in the ticket department, Mayweather is the one who fucking okay. And that was like the best thing we had going. And so he starts saying, "I'm doing this for all the black people." I go, "Really? Really? You doing this for me?" Man, I got some fucking
every voice and sing.
I got some fucking tax bills outstanding. If you're doing it for me, maybe you could help me out. So Cody is a dumbass. Aljamain Sterling is a fucking, he's trying his damnedest to get into the Lost Battalion, and he's got the Sarah Longo team, the recruitment team, right there with him. So as far as I'm concerned, and I don't think boy is necessarily pejorative. Would it have been pejorative?
Oh, come on.
Ease up. Would it have been pejorative to call him son? Could I call him son?
It doesn't have the same. It does not have the same connotation at all.
You son someone. Everyone can son somebody.
I'm saying this because
Conor didn't son black people in Alabama, because that implies
I'm saying it because I don't have time for fucking symbolism. The symbolism in my mind is fucking comical. Race in America makes me so fucking weary, and the fact that you think that Trump can count on these guys who race is their raison d'etre, the reason why they wake up in the morning,
like Fox News. The entire Republican Party,
I don't think if you think it's going to be a cakewalk in 2018 with the elections.
No, I don't think. I think it's close as shit. But I don't trust the Democrats to win a gimme. I mean,
Yeah, at this point now,
like this
at this
alt
point
left
now,
shit.
you have so many fucking enemies, and they don't need to even coalesce. They don't even need to coalesce. You could have the Bernie Hillary thing all over again. At this point, you have
It hasn't stopped.
You
It has not stopped.
You haven't had the hornet's nest settle down enough so that people are backing off of anything. Not at all. Not at all.
People are just at each other's throats.
Right. And
Like
the reality of it is, this is his modus operandi. It will continue to be. And the question is, will we fatigue of it? And I believe we'll fucking fatigue of it. Like
people I think are already sick of it, but is that enough to get the guy to have any consequences to his behavior? And at this point, I would say no. I'd say it's still 50-50.
No, he's in his 70s. He will remain the same. You know, the question is, do these guys?
Does he get impeached or does he get
no, I'm not even
way?
I'm thinking about the guys who can't get dates on Friday night, because that's what I'm calling them. The guys who can't get, because if they had dates,
live action role players.
Yeah. If
There's a couple of women there.
No, I saw them, but what is it, 1 to 20? It doesn't count, right? So if they get that dates on Friday nights, they would be other places. Do they weigh more than Mitch McConnell?
Yes. You know who won the fucking Alabama Senate primary tonight?
Oh,
fucking Roy Moore beat the guy that McConnell and Trump endorsed. The GOP does not have control of their base, and that's why the GOP is shitting their pants about Trump. And that's why you get Mitt Romney condemning Trump, but you don't get Paul Ryan condemning Trump, and you don't get McConnell, because they know
but you see
they've lost control of their voting base.
But you see what Paul Ryan did? He tried to fucking own it, and then Trump doubled back and fucked him. And it's like, oh, man.
Cucked and cucked again. I mean, that's the Paul Ryan story.
Again, fool me once, shame on you. What is it? Fool me twice, shame on me. I mean,
Paul Ryan is.
We can't get fooled again.
I mean,
yeah. What do you think Ryan's gonna try to? I don't know. I don't see. And somebody said, "We're your neighbors to the north. We're frightened about American politics. What should we be thinking?" I go, look. My attitude is, I'm gonna go with Percy. What the hell was his name? Percy
Sutton.
Not Percy Sutton, not that guy. That guy helped me out at one point, despite what you might have heard. No, the guy from Being There. Come on, Peter Sellers' character.
Peter Sellers played. The Peter Sellers character from Being There. That's all. Nobody's watching knows what Being There was anyway.
All right, so I mean, this is what my advice to people panicked. I'm not panicked about this. I'm laughing all the way.
Chauncey. It was Chauncey Gardner.
Chauncey Gardner.
That's why I didn't know, because it wasn't Percy. It was Chauncey
Gardner. and I have one measurement, and kid is gonna drive Kid Nate crazy. My measurement when I
is
wake
this about
up.
How big your penis is again?
No. Everybody knows. My thing, when I wake up in the morning and put my feet on the floor and go like this, and then I check the stock ticker. And if the stock is up, I'm all right.
That is the biggest scam, because the stock market is just relentlessly going up no matter what the news is. And if you can't tell it's
no, you'll know. That's the canary in the coal mine.
That's not the canary in the coal mine. That is when the stock market goes, we're fucked, because they have got it propped up as hard as they fucking can.
So what if it's not the canary? What is it then? What's the last thing that died? That's a cockroach.
Structural. Like, you know, if you're in that old song Big Bad John about the guy holding up the mine shaft while everybody tries to get out, that would be Big Bad John. I mean, that is the structurally significant structure. If the stock market goes,
that's good, but it's hard to you don't get that parallelism with canaries and Big Bad John.
The load-bearing structure. That's what it is. It's not the canary in the coal mine.
I'm gonna stick with cockroach, because after all the nuclear war is done, cockroaches will be left. So that's the cockroach. But I like the load-bearing. Just being a
moral cockroach doesn't save you from nuclear annihilation, Eugene.
That's good. You made up for the Big Bad John thing with the moral cockroach.
And a perfect segue for Kid Nate's heel turn.
Yeah.
The heel turn. So many. I mean, I gotta give my fucking friends in the alt woke division credit for coining alt left. Joy-Ann Reid and all these Peter Dow and all these liberal shitheads that have been bashing the Bernie voters and calling them alt left. Now Trump is using that, just like fake news was another one that just, here's a gift for you, Donald Trump. But the issue I'm concerned about is Cyborg got fucked out of playing around in the WWE because of the evil Ronda, and that's low down. That's low down. It doesn't really matter that Cyborg didn't actually reach out to the WWE or make any actual effort to get in there and do a deal, and there's no evidence that Ronda actually was the one that kiboshed it because she didn't have anything to kibosh. But nonetheless, it would be horrifically shitty of Ronda to cock block Cyborg out of some sweet WWE action. And I know Alexi is excited because he wants Gabby Garcia to compete in the WWE.
Yeah, I think that's a match made in heaven. I think that Cyborg thought it was all about her. That like, oh, you know what? I can really easily sell tickets and be a marquee attraction for the WWE. But Gabby Garcia
and Ronda. Now that would be
exactly, yes, totally.
But if you were Ronda, would you trust Gabby not to shoot on you?
Mm-hmm.
I think Gabby would just accidentally brain damage her. You know, oops, I forgot it wasn't a fight. I'm sorry.
That's true. And what happens is, right? For wrestling, you would have those wrestlers that would be the enforcers, right? Who like they would test you out and make sure that you knew your place, and if you mess somebody over, you'd have to wrestle them, where they would potato you or give you work stiffly with you. But I can't see. I mean, who are they going to have? Who are they going to have do that to Gabby Garcia, man?
She's the enforcer.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. As I mentioned,
well, I mean, but there's another story here.
Eugene,
right?
would you fight Gabby Garcia?
I've seen her at the Bellator shows, and I thought about that myself, and I would.
You would?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I'm going to venture that my hand speed is better than hers.
And that you're a grappler.
Yeah, I started boxing at the boys' club, and I was a stand-up guy for years.
Didn't you disavow it like karate?
Well, I figured, yeah, I did karate, and I did Muay Thai, and back to boxing, but grappling is my specialty at this point. But the reality of it is, I can swing it enough to keep her off of me, and that's all I got to do is keep her off of me.
I see. You don't think she's dangerous with her hands?
Not more dangerous than me.
I see.
However, know that the guy who's going to jiu-jitsu 5-6 days a week is not saying shit about going to the ground with her.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think it is sad that if you don't have an opportunity for Cyborg and Gabby in WWE, I think that's a natural look. We're never going to see Cyborg versus Ronda, right? I don't know if people really want to see that. But the weird thing is, if it happened in WWE, they'd make it so that Ronda would win, and that would be disgusting also.
No, it wouldn't. That's called pro wrestling. That's the whole point of it. They let Cyborg win a match or get her licks in. I mean,
look, you guys are missing a pretty significant.
Oh, we got to give Ric Flair a shout out because he's in critical condition. So,
well, he's out of the medically induced coma now. That's what.
Well, that's good. That's good.
But I think look, WWE is fine for guys like Rock and John Cena and Goldberg and CM. You know why it's right for them? Because they are fucking rich. They are rich people, and we are playthings of the rich. Watch them enjoy themselves. It's much less fun to watch people who fight in WWE because they need to eat, and there are not many of them. I mean, you got the journeymen who are not fighting WWE. They're fighting. I did a show at a wrestling arena in Ohio. Me and Scott Kelly from Neurosis, and they had wrestling. I mean, it was pro wrestling, but the farm team. The place held like 800 people, and it was cold and concrete floors, and it's not fun. It's not fun. I don't think Gabby or Cyborg is wanting to fight WWE because they think it'll be fucking fun. I think they want to eat, And I think the fact that Ronda has shoved them away from the feed either means that she hasn't made enough to continue to comfortably eat, or driven by anger and bitterness and spite. Like, what? You chased me out of MMA, so what? You can't leave me with this? But she didn't also chase you out of the movies. She didn't do that, right? She didn't chase you out of Entourage or those shows that you were in where you couldn't really act. So why begrudge her? The reality of it is, We're back to sausage and plates, and it's a drag seeing people on a public stage who don't have enough sausages on their fucking plates. You know, like Bobby Southworth once said from AKA, who is retired, was on one of the old seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, and moved to Houston. He was like, yeah, you know what fame is? Everybody knows your name, but you got no money in the bank. So long, MMA.
Man. Well, I think it's only a matter of time before Gabby also does the. I mean, I don't even know if she can even do wrestling in Japan. I mean, they did have.
After she kicked that woman in the groin.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. You think they would have already pitched it to her by now? Anyway, on that depressing note,
lovelorn talking about Gabby Garcia.
What's that?
You look kind of wistful and lovelorn, Alexi. When you
I think it's a great opportunity, man. I mean, just think about it. Like, they had China, they went, you know, I think Vince McMahon, I mean, assuming he's still running she just seems like a perfect fit for WWE. Just perfect fit. I mean, she's someone who's actually legitimate, like a legitimate person, a legitimate, like, badass, and somebody who they could market, make a lot of money off of. It just seems like such a perfect fit.
Hey, did you ever see that porno, Night in China?
No.
Okay, don't see it. Okay, don't see it.
I wasn't planning on seeing it.
Never see that.
Ugh.
I know, and I know you people listening. They got how Eugene's so funny, and you're trying to go see it now. Don't do it, because what steroids do to a woman's body is unforgivable. So don't.
Man.
Don't.
Well, I think that's also a great segue. I thought it was sad enough. But you just raised, you know.
I have to say, wait, time out. The viewers in the chat are split. They've got it half and half for Eugene, half for Gabby. So.
All right, those guys pulling for me. I like that. Keep in mind, I'm not saying this from a remote perspective. I saw her at the SAP Center in San Jose. I go, oh my God, there she is talking to Kogan. So I sidle up to Mike Kogan for the express purpose of being able to size up my opponent.
How did she respond to you?
Well, you know, I'm a creep, right? So
you size her up for something else?
No, because right now I know everybody's going, I would never have sex with Gabby Garcia. Sex with Gabby, but that's not what you say when you're there. You're so close, and you're like, you know what? How could I not? How could I not try? I'm right here. I'm right here. And so I'm like and Kogan is just like looking at me like, what are you? You're never this charming, because I'm being like I'm talking to him, but I'm being all like charming and you know, and it completely fucking ignoring me. So that's how that went.
Man.
Oh, breaking news. Brett Akamoto says Dana White says Tony Ferguson against Kevin Lee for the UFC lightweight title on October 7th.
Beautiful. Okay, I like it.
So McGregor's vacated the lightweight belt as well.
Wow.
Hey, big deal. You know, man, he's
got
your
boy Khabib, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're Khabib. There we go. Curveball.
He's not mine.
I think it's smart. I think it's smart to save that. And besides Khabib, I wouldn't bank on Khabib right now anyway. Let him have a fight, come back.
That he shows up for.
Yeah. Let him bring a fight to a successful resolution. Then he can challenge champion Ferguson, because they already couldn't make that deal work repeatedly anyway. Like, those guys both want too much money to fight each other. So let Ferguson get the title. I mean, assuming he beats Kevin Lee, but come on, he's going to beat the brakes off Kevin Lee, and then you book Khabib Ferguson.
Yep, and I think that's right.
Because I'm WME-IMG, as you know.
No, I mean the only thing that I'm worried about is I've been watching these videos of Ferguson, and he's doing all of his chop socky stand up and trying to show that he's got boxing chops. That in order to drive home that $100 million point, that he tries to box Kevin Lee, you know, to make, and then gets fucking murked in the process. You know, that's the only, you know, he figures like, look, I mean, I've been in that situation in the MMA match. The guy hit me straight on the ear. fucking screwed up my equilibrium. I went down, but I still could actively, once with the ground on my back, I could still stay active and actually won the fight. But I had bad vertigo for a couple of days after that. But that's not my point. The point is that if he tries to impress people with his stand-up against Kevin Lee, that could end badly.
Well, speaking of ending badly, Eugene, it's time for your Lost Battalion.
Well, you know, I'm gonna do my Ray Weingarten imitation. So you could be white, you could be black, you could be Chinese, you could be Japanese, you could be from here, you could be from there, you could be from Brooklyn, you could be from the Bronx. My point is this, Alexi, you gotta do the right thing. And in this instance, as much as I would like to say it was somebody else in the Lost Battalion, you know, and I know it can't be anything by anybody else but friend of Knuckle Up, Daniel Cormier.
Oh, man.
The man's walking around with a dry ice machine in his pocket at this point.
Chopping on heaven's door.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, and the only reason I say that, you remember, the entry into the Lost Battalion is very fucking specific. He's making grandiose statements and then follows it up with, I haven't watched the video yet. So you haven't seen the fight. Based on an internal gut feeling that you have, you are saying that there's going to be a third part of this trilogy. And that's when everybody in the room kind of goes, yeah. They start looking like John Kelly did at the press conference today when Trump went off book. You know, I'd like to say it. Look, on what grounds? I mean, there's some complicated MMA mathematics there, right? Like, okay, light heavyweight's depleted. Maybe I'll have to fight somebody else, but largely I've taken care of all these guys. What else are they gonna do? You know, and you know, Johnny Boy Jr. is thinking about getting paid. He was fallow a couple of years, needs to make some money back. The signs are clear that Brock Lesnar is being cleared up and put on the on deck circle. You know, he's like, I'm going to go to heavyweight. You're going to do like the Harvey Keitel character. You're going to follow him to heavyweight. And what? And what? And what? Exactly. You know, because if you don't think the one loss weighed heavy on his head, the second loss, and he said it very specifically, again, lost, but he goes, I love to compete. I don't know what else I do. Oh. And then you see this little head bobbing in the misty hillside, and that's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, man.
It's like Mike Love and John Stamos getting together for yet another song duet. You know, this is what they do. They make music. They make people miserable. They want to share their misery. They can't be stopped.
Yep.
Yep. Man, but this show can be stopped.
Or Ariane's record. Have you heard that?
Yes.
Now, if you compare Ariane's record to Tracy Lord's record,
Tracy's an actual talent. Come on. I mean,
there you go. Her record was good.
Yeah. Tracy was a sharp gal. Is.
Yep.
I bet you Tracy has money in the bank right now.
Yes, she does. Yeah.
I bet she has the money she made in porn and has grown that money, like, you know, not like Jenna Jameson, but like.
Well, and she also did a bunch of movies too. I mean, legit movies.
Yeah. But I bet you she still has the first nickel she made and all the nickels she made investing that nickel. I think the gal is fairly sharp.
Well, and also I like what she did too, which is just to cast a pall over. She goes, essentially, if you see all my work before I was 18, you know what you're watching. It's like, man, you can't watch it without feeling like a fucking creep, you know. I mean,
and being legally liable for jail time.
Yeah, that too.
Thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter, Eugene S. Robinson, Lexi Older Kid Nate, at Facebook at MMA Punch Holes. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
And you wonder why YouTube won't monetize.
Hey, some of these guys are making big money. Anthony Antano, that guy who reviewed the Thin Black Duke, you know, he just bought a house.
Of his YouTube money, but he's taken a big hit. Everybody making money on YouTube has taken a big hit in the last few months.
Really?
Yeah, because the ISIS panic. Because they
what?
YouTube got busted taking money from people and putting their ads on ISIS recruiting videos, and so advertising is down like 50% from YouTube as a whole. And then YouTube is now overreacting and doing things like demonetizing our show that had Kodak Black in the headline. If I take Kodak Black out of the headline, then they remonetize it. But it's like they've got a bunch of, they've got a call center in India somewhere deciding what to monetize, and it's pretty dumb. And so, so YouTube is a bit of a clusterfuck right now. But congratulations on that review. I'd never heard of the kid, but apparently he's a big deal, and he loved your record.
Yeah, man. He's got a copy of the book coming, so maybe he'll review the book too. So.
Did he get it for free?
He's a member of the press.
I'm a member of the press.
Music press.
I see.
Music press.
Because I paid retail for mine.
Yeah, you did actually. That's a good man.
About that?
Yeah, I was actually feeling really happy about it. I go, that kid Nate, man, he's a prince. That's fucking great.
Well,
and so did Alexi as well, right? I mean, not the Thin Black Book, but other stuff.
Yeah, well, I would have gotten the book, but my kids would have destroyed it, man. That's I came so close so many times getting it. It's like, okay, kid number 1's going to destroy it. Kid number 2, kid number 3.
Gotta keep your kids out of your library.
Good luck with that shit. Subscribe to AMANation.com on YouTube, AMANation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Buy Oxbow's Thin Black Duke, where fine music is sold. And be sure to check out all 3 of us on Amazon.com. We'll be back next week with another installment If I Did It. And we don't know what we're going to be talking about because of PR mistakes.